Hey, what's up, everybody? Paul Wintergurst here. Welcome to the August Summer 2018 Fat Burn Challenge. This is going to be awesome. I love doing these orientations. I love doing these challenges, and there is a lot to cover. So I'm going to dive right in. Before we begin, have your stuff ready, little water, get your coffee ready, and let's get through this. You probably may want to have a little note, pen, and paper to take down some notes. Before we begin, you should have the PDF for the orientation pamphlet emailed to you. So what I'm going to suggest, I'm going to pause this video and I'm going to give you 5 minutes, or you pause the video and either have the PDF up in front of you, follow along on the screen with me. You can see my screen being recorded right now. We're going to go through the PDF in order, or print it out and have it next to you and write notes on it. So before we begin, go ahead and do that, and I will be right back. All right, we're back. So next thing is there's two types of people doing this challenge. Either you've done a challenge before or you're a rookie. If you're a rookie, watch the whole thing, ingest this information. You're going to have questions. People always do their first time. I'm doing a Facebook Live Sunday night. I'm doing a Facebook Live Monday night. You guys can pop in on those Facebook Lives in the challenge group Facebook group, which I'm going to show you how to join if you haven't already. There's links being emailed out to you, and we can get a lot of your questions answered then. In addition, members of the team are going to be doing Facebook Lives Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So there's going to be plenty of opportunity for you to get your questions answered. If you feel lost at all, don't worry. We are here to support you, and I really mean that. We're going to make this a nice experience for you. For you guys who are returning to the challenge, in the email we break down the table of contents, and we break down what time you can find each location on the video. So just skip around to the parts that you want to listen to and the parts that you don't want to listen to. Some of this stuff is going to be repetitive for you guys, so just jump in and find the important parts, okay? So having said that, let us begin. Alrighty, so we got our table of contents here, self-explanatory. The introduction is always just stuff for you to read. And for you newbies, let me make it crystal clear what these challenges are for. These challenges are not only for your body, they're for your mind, okay? We have found through years of fat burn and thousands of people being through this program, most people burn out when they're trying to get a fitness result. Because of that, we've put together a really great program where within a 12-month period, you would go through a challenge 3 or 4 times per year, which allows you enough time in between each challenge to reset your mind, go into a maintenance mode, and then be excited when the next challenge comes around. What this does is allows you to get a result during a challenge, either in a 21-day or a 28-day period. It starts, it ends, go into maintenance, feel more relaxed. Next challenge rolls around, you're ready to go back into it hard. So what I've done here is I actually have a nice little video under this section why we do these challenges, and there's a hyperlink in this PDF that you can use. I suggest not even right now, or you can pause this video right now and go watch that one, or watch it at the end, but this is going to make it crystal clear for you why we do these challenges. There's two types of people. Theme one is the one most of you fall into, which is you really want to get a fitness result, you want to get it as soon as possible, you don't care how you do it, but that is not the greatest way to do it because you're going to burn yourself out. Second type of person is the person who is always in shape and you don't know how they do it and you don't know how they live a fitness lifestyle. If you follow our challenge wave and roller coaster process, which I explain in this video, it is a much easier, more relaxed way to get to your final destination and not stress and burn yourself out along the way. Watch that when you have some time, okay? So that is why we do these challenges. There are prizes, yes. It is competition, yes. Putting all that aside, it's to get a result for these next 21 days, because after this is over, we want you to maintain that result until the next challenge and then get a more of a result in your next challenge, and that's how you're going to start building up onto where you want to be. So let's set some expectations before this whole thing begins. What is exactly different about this next 21 days? First of all, you're on a team of people. All right? I love accountability, and there's no more accountability that works better than guilt. So the reason we split you onto competitive and non-competitive teams, you all are competing. So let me be clear about that first and foremost. The non-competitive teams are just going to be those that really don't care about winning. So it's not that you're still not going to be ranked and competing. You're just not going to piss the people off if you're slacking because they don't really care about winning anyway. They're just doing it for themselves and they're doing it to motivate each other. If you're on a competitive team, you better feel a little guilty if you're not helping your team score improve because they are trying to win prizes, they are trying to win the trophy, and you are part of that. So that's part one. The competition, like I say here, either you love it or hate it. That's going to be going on with yourself, partly because you're going to be recording some weights and some AMRAPs to see how you can improve. You're going to be doing body comps every single week, which are going to go towards individual prizes and team prizes. And then we're going to have a field day at the end, which is going to be you competing even more for some events that you've hopefully gotten stronger on by working out these 3 weeks. Okay, we usually do body comps every 2 weeks in Fat Burn. I like to say that the challenge is like Fat Burn on speed, so you're doing a body comp every single week here. Get those done on Friday. We do 10 new recipes every month at Fat Burn. During the challenge, we do 10 new recipes every single week. So there is a Dropbox link right here. There's a Dropbox link that is going to be included in the emails that you're getting. So I want to keep rifling through here. You guys can go click to these links and pause this video or check all that stuff out later, but just realize there's 10 new recipes coming your way every single week. There's also daily homework, number 5. This is not mandatory, it's bonus. It's going to give you bonus points. So when you're competing for these prizes, submitting your homework on the Facebook group page is going to give you extra bonus points to help you bump that score up, give you a better chance of winning. If you miss one, don't worry about it. Don't freak out about all this stuff. Do it as you want to do it and as competitive as you want to be. The field day on August 25th is going to be at 10 a.m. at Pembroke Park in Greenwich, Connecticut. We should be out of there and wrapping up by 12:30, the latest 1 p.m. And then we're going to give you guys a couple hours to go home and shower and get ready. And then we're going to meet back for whoever wants to join us at Cove Beach in Stanford, which is where we did the barbecue last year. Everything's on Fat Burn. We're going to have food. We'll have some beers. We have some fun where we can kick back and relax and enjoy the end of the challenge. Okay? Number 8 is your mindset. This is going back to what I was saying in the beginning. The reason you really want to follow the challenges to the letter is because you really want to find out what your body is capable of. So for all of you who have started and not gone through a challenge yet and haven't done Fat Burn to the T, this is when you want to do it. And you always want to do one challenge to the T because that is what your body is capable of. So if we know what your body is capable of, we can always work towards bettering, not really bettering that, putting you into a maintenance phase or knowing when you're getting a worse result. If you never know what your body is capable of because you haven't followed the plan exactly to the T, then you never know what like the optimal level you are at is, if that makes sense. So in this, when I explain to you how all the nutrition works, there's one cheat meal per week. Most of you will be eating 28 Fat Burn approved meals per week, and you're going to learn what that means. What I'm saying is if you work out your prescribed 3, 4, 5 times per week and you eat your 27 Fat Burn approved meals, and we measure you every single Friday, at the end of this process, you will have followed the Fat Burn plan to the T, and you will know how that plan affects your body. If you follow the plan 70%, you can say I did the Fat Burn plan and it affected me this way, but there's still more that you could have improved. I really like to know what your optimal performance is. So that's what we're going to do, and there's the introduction. So now I'm going to dive right in, and here's what to check off before we actually begin on Monday. You should have already done your body comp on Friday, so that's number 1. You're listening to the orientation right now, and the key items that you want to take out of this orientation are to determine your goal. There are 3 goals to work towards, and we're going to get into that in page 6. You want to figure out what your fat burn level is. I'm going to describe to you how to do that on page 7. Once you do figure out your fat burn level, you're going to know how to create meals, you're going to know how to use our recipes, and you're going to know how to order fat burn food. For those of you who want to utilize the fat burn food, especially for those of you who want to pick up the food on Monday when the challenge starts, you have to order your food by Saturday at 10 a.m. So I hope you're listening to this on Friday night or Saturday morning. Once you know your level, you can go ahead and select food items at your level and be prepared for Monday. Level is just another word for portion size, so don't let that confuse you either. There are level 2 meals all the way through level 6 meals, and all that means is a level 2 meal is a smaller portion size compared to a level 3, 4, 5, and 6 portioned or level meal. Next, you want to join the challenge Facebook group. There is a link down there right for you. There's also a link to our website where you can order your food. The reason you want to be in the Fat Burn Facebook page is we communicate a lot of information on that page. It becomes very active during the challenge with questions. So for those of you resistant to Facebook, I would recommend you join for these 21 days. None of your friends are going to see this. It's a private group. Everything is contained to these 150 people inside this challenge. And you're also going to be posting your homework there. That's mandatory. So if you're not in the Facebook group, you're not going to be getting any homework bonus points. So that's that. Next up, we have our Facebook Lives starting on Sunday. Jump onto the Facebook Lives. If you don't make them live, they're going to be recorded. Ask your questions, type your questions in. We will answer them. I know there's going to be a lot in the beginning. And then Monday, everything officially begins. So get in there, start kicking some butt in the workout. Andrew's going to explain on a Facebook Live Monday morning what you guys are going to be recording as far as weights and what workouts are going to be applying towards the field events. So you're going to be training, for example, for a medicine ball throw. So we're going to be getting you stronger in medicine ball throws for the 3 weeks leading up to the challenge. Okay, and more about that to come. Moving right along, the 3 phases of fat burn defined. Here we go. When you first start a challenge, a lot of people either want to do them for weight loss, for fat loss, and for muscle gain. And I distinguish what each of those mean here. The cool thing about this challenge is you're going to be competing individually in all 3 of these categories. You don't have to choose one. We're going to be keeping track of your weight loss, of your fat loss, and of your muscle gain. And the individual winners in each category that rise to the top are going to get awarded for that. In the past, we made people choose which category. Now you're participating in all of them, but you can certainly concentrate on one of them. So real quickly, what do these mean? Weight loss is self-explanatory. Weight loss is for you if you are probably the first time here and all you really care about is seeing the scale move down. It might mean that you obsess over the number on the scale. You're just adamant about wanting to lose 10 or 15 pounds, and that's all you care about. And that's fine, because like I said, the mental part of this game and you losing weight, if you see that starting to come down, you'll be encouraged, and then you can funnel into some of the, I'm not going to say more advanced, but more phases that make sense for your body after weight loss, such as fat loss and muscle gain. So when you come to weight loss, when you do your body composition, you're going to see that we break things down into water weight, into skeletal muscle mass, into fat, and then your overall weight. So if you're losing weight, you might be losing weight from all of the categories, which means you might be losing some muscle mass. So if this is your category and you come in week 2 or week 3 and you see your muscle mass is down, do not be discouraged and say, hey, I'm losing weight, but I'm also losing muscle. Yes, because weight loss is not always the most efficient way to do things, but it's a good start. Fat loss, secondly, is more efficient because when we're feeding you for fat loss, or our workouts are for fat loss. High intensity interval training, in my opinion, is the most efficient way to burn fat. Strength training and increasing your skeletal muscle mass just helps your body burn more calories at rest every day. So when you're eating for fat loss, what we want to do here, the goal is for you to not lose any muscle mass, but for you to lose only your fat mass. The difference between this and weight loss is you're eating a little more food, and you might not see the scale number drop as drastic as if you were eating less calories every day for weight loss. The good part about this is it is a more efficient way to lose weight and to lose fat because you're holding on or supposed to be holding on to your muscle mass, and in the longer run it's going to serve you better because as you get through weight loss and as you get to a low enough body fat percentage, the goal then becomes increasing your lean muscle mass and your skeletal muscle mass, which helps your body burn calories each and every day, even while you're sitting down. Okay? And there's more to that, but I'm giving you the quick hits here. So weight loss, you're losing from all categories. Fat loss, you really only want to be losing fat and nothing else. Maybe even increasing water and increasing skeletal muscle mass if you can. It's really hard to do both at the same time. And then lastly, you have muscle gain. Pretty self-explanatory. On the body comps, you're going to see some things called lean body mass, which is a combination of your muscle, your skeleton in your water. We're going to be looking at your skeletal muscle mass, which takes some of the fluctuation of water out of it. It still does account for the water inside your muscles. So the skeletal muscle mass is just a gauge of your skeleton's weight plus the muscles attached to your skeleton with the water inside those muscles. And when you're gaining muscle, weight loss and fat loss is not your primary objective, because when you're gaining muscle, you might actually gain some weight, you might actually gain some body fat. But if you're starting at a good enough level, that all makes sense. So those are the three categories, and what you need to do for this next section is pick one that you want to concentrate on for this challenge, okay? So think about those. If you have to pause here, you can also pause, and you can let me take a little pause here also and take a drink of my water, and then you can dive into the next section, because the next section I'm going to ask you to pick one of these categories. It's going to matter for your level. All right, we're back. Now let's talk about how to calculate your levels. So I'm going to start with females. All you need to know at this point is the weight that you weighed in at and what your goal is. Okay, let's start with weight loss. If you are a female, maybe you can see my cursor here, maybe you can't, but if you are a female and you are under 175 pounds and your goal is weight loss, you'll see in the box on the top left that you are going to be on a level 2. Everybody for the first part is going to be eating 4 times per day. You're a female, you weigh under 175 pounds, you're going to be eating level 2 meals 4 times a day. That means you're going to be eating 4 level 2 meals per day. If you are over 175 pounds and your goal is weight loss, you're going to be eating level 3 meals, 4 level 3 meals. Now, if your goal is fat loss and you are a female under 175, on the bottom left quadrant of that point over here, which way am I pointing, of that little box on the top, you're going to be eating level 3. So a female under 175, you are eating 4 level 3 meals per day. If you are a female over 175 and your goal is fat loss, you're going to be eating 4 level 4 meals per day. Lastly, if your goal is muscle gain, okay, you're going to be doing the same calculation, but you're going to be eating 5 times per day. So if you see under the box here where I underline muscle gain, you're going to be eating 5 times. So let's take an example. You're a female that weighs 180 pounds. So that's going to put you on the right side of this box. So you're going to be on level 4, but instead of eating 4 times, you're eating 5. So you're eating 5 level 4 meals every single day. The same rules apply to a male, but male's weight is just a little different. If you are under 210 pounds or if you are over 210 pounds, the same rules apply to you. So let's pick one. I'm a 220-pound male, and my goal is weight loss. I'm going to be eating 4 level 4 meals per day. Okay, Paul, haven't actually done my body comp yet, but I weigh around 170 to 175 pounds. My goal for this challenge is probably going to be fat loss, so I will be eating 4 level 4 meals per day. Okay, now after this, you should have your level picked. You should know what your level is, and you should know how many times per day you are eating, and now we can move on to the next section. All right, guys, so next what I want you to do is, we're on this page 6 right here. I actually want you to skip over the calendar. We're going to come back to it. I want you to go to page 9, actually page 10, because I'm going to use a level 3 as an example. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you the 3 ways that you can accomplish what we call a fat burn approved meal. There are fat burn approved meals and there are non-fat burn approved meals. It's not good or bad, it just is what it is. It means, were you eating according to the challenge fat burn plan, or were you not eating according to the fat burn challenge plan, and how many times in a week are you doing either one of those activities, okay? So let's start with the easiest way to accomplish a fat burn approved meal, the way that I'm going to be doing it the entire challenge, and the way a lot of people utilize fat burn during challenge is by ordering meals from fat burn, which you are not obligated to. It's just the easiest way. So you go to fatburn.com, you click on the food. All right, you should have now calculated your level, and you should know what level you are. If you don't proceed until you understand that, and let's ask us a question, okay? Let's put it on the Facebook group. Let's send a nutrition concierge a text, or let's email a FatBurn team member and ask for help calculating your levels. I'm going to use an example here of a 160-pound woman whose goal is fat loss. So very quickly, let me just shoot back up to this level sheet. If I'm a 160-pound woman, I'm under 175 pounds. My goal is fat loss, so I'm going to be eating at a level 3 4 times per day. The base plan for fat burn is to be eating 4 hours apart. So what that means is if you wake up and eat your breakfast at 7 a.m., you eat again at 11 a.m., you eat again at 3 p.m., and then you eat again at 7 p.m. It's a 12-hour window of eating. How important is it to be eating every 4 hours on the mark? I'm not going to say that it has to be to the minute, but I will say this quote. Oh, now I'm going to forget the quote. But the difference often between success and failure is doing something nearly right or doing something exactly right. I've lost count of the amount of challenges I've done. It's either 15 or 16. But the point is, like I said in the beginning of the video, the more perfect you do everything by the book, the better result you're going to be, the more we can see what your optimal result is for your body. So I would suggest you adhering as close to the 4 hour mark as possible. If you can't hit the 4 hour mark, it is better to eat beforehand than after. So an extreme example, it would be better to eat 3 hours after your last meal than it would be to wait and eat 5 hours after your last meal. When are your workouts going to be in your day? It will probably be good to know when your workout is and start planning your first meal accordingly so that one of your meals hits nice and neat right after your workout, not right before your workout. Then you can't eat and you work out and you're waiting a long amount of time. So this is going to take a little bit of planning and it is going to help you. All right. But now let me get back to what a FatBurn approved meal is. So if you're doing it the easiest way, go to fatburn.com, click on the food. We have 4 meals here. Meal 1 is a more breakfasty meal. Meal 2 is lunch. Meal 4 is dinner. And then meal 3 is build your own, which I'll explain. You do not have to eat meal 1s at meal 1. If you're eating a level 3 meal, for example, these chorizo egg muffins, all you're going to do is select meal 3. You're going to select your pickup date, which will be Monday the 6th. You're going to select where you want to pick it up from, and you're going to add this to your bag, and you're going to check out at the end. What I'm saying is, if you love these chorizo egg muffins and you want to eat them for dinner, as long as it's a level 3, you can. Any level 3 meal is balanced in the same macronutrient portion and within the same calorie range. It's not exact, but it is close enough for me to be happy that if you're eating a level 3 meal, no matter what it is, you're getting the right amount of protein, carbs, and fats in every single meal. Okay? So that's number 1. Click through these items, see which things you like, and add them to your cart accordingly. Okay? Almond crusted swai, level 3. Pickup date the same. Add to your bag. Add as many meals as you want. So what you want to do here is you want to figure out how many meals you're going to be preparing on your own, how many meals realistically you can prepare, and if you can't get all 27 meals within a week, then why not go ahead and order some fat burn meals to fill in that blank to have with you to ensure yourself you're going to have success. If you're eating 4 meals a day, 7 days a week, that is 28 potential fat burn approved meals. You're allowed to have one cheat meal. So what you want to aim for every week is 27 fat burn approved meals. So I myself will probably be ordering 24 fat burn meals every single week, leaving the 25th to a cheat meal, and then the 3 that I'm probably going to make on my own, like a protein shake or a Greek yogurt in the morning, because sometimes I like to do that, okay? But my point is I'm set up for success because 24 of my meals are being made for me. I'm going to have them with me. There's no way I can screw up. Lastly, about ordering your meals is the build your own. Build your own just means that you're selecting your protein. People love these Gianni's chicken burgers, so we're still going with level 3. You're going to add your vegetable and you're going to add your carb. Same deal. Check out. Now, I haven't gotten into what I would like you guys to do yet, and this is the only place it gets a little confusing, and I'm going to share this and teach you this when we get to your level sheets. The 4th meal of your meal plan, if you are on weight loss or you are on fat loss should not have a starchy carb in it. It should only have a vegetable as your carb. Vegetable is a carb, okay? And don't have your head start spinning here. If you're getting lost, don't worry. I will pound this in over the next couple days. 4 meals per day. First 3 meals, you can have a protein, carb, and fat. The fourth meal, protein, carb, has to be a vegetable and a fat. That's the only switch. No starchy carb, only a vegetable for your fourth meal of the day. You can accomplish that here by selecting double for your veg, and it's going to pre-select none for your carb. So you can create meal fours for yourself with any of these protein options. So you can have petite filet at level 3, you can have it with broccoli, and then you can just double your portion of broccoli, which is going to shut off your carb. Sorry to get a little confusing there. You're going to learn this. It's actually pretty simple. All the meal fours that you're having during the challenge are going to not have a carb in it so that you can easily just order these. This swai is almond crusted, so that's not a carb. That's actually a fat. This spiced turkey samsoa bowl. Let me make sure this has no starchy or carbs in it. It actually has peas in it, which is a level 2. But other than that, this is going to apply for your level, for your meal fours. Now, the last thing that comes to ordering fat burn approved meals, you'll see the directions right here on top. It tells you when the cutoffs for meals are. So if you want to order your meals for Monday pickup, then you have to submit this food order by Saturday at 10 a.m. That doesn't mean you have to do it Saturday at 10 a.m. You can do it at any time. You can pause the video and you can do it right now. It just has to be before Saturday at 10 a.m. because that's when we're going to process the orders. That's when the production sheet is going to go to the chef, and then the chef is going to cook your meals on Sunday. They're going to be packaged for you Sunday night. They're going to be ready for you to pick up anytime on Monday from 6 a.m. onward, okay? So if you have questions about that, please just ask. That's the first way you can get a Fat Burn approved meal, is to obviously order a Fat Burn approved meal from Fat Burn. Secondly, let us go to the Dropbox. That is where, let's see, that Dropbox link was up here in what to do over the weekend. So here's your order Fat Burn approved meals. Here's your Facebook link. The Dropbox link is right here under number 4. So I'm going to click onto that. This item wants to connect to Dropbox, so this is going to open. Second way you can achieve a Fat Burn approved meal is by using one of our recipes. So let's click now. There's a bunch of documents in here which I'll describe in the bonus section at the end of this video. For right now, let's click into August 2018 recipes. You have the 10 recipes for week 1 here. Farm to Sea Stir Fry. I'm clicking on the first one. The cool thing about all Fat Burn recipes are, not only does it tell you the ingredients, not only does it tell you the directions, but the level portions are already done for you. So sticking with level 3, if you're going to create this recipe and you're going to make a bunch of it either for yourself for the week or for your family, right? If you're a mom with a husband and 2 kids, these are family friendly recipes. You can make it for the whole family for dinner, but you know that you are going to measure out 4 ounces of shrimp cooked. You're going to have 1 cup of squash with it, 1 cup, squash, zucchini, and peas together, and you're going to use 1 tablespoon of olive oil when you're cooking it. That's if you're cooking it separately. Don't let the fats and the cooking portions get you crazy either. If you're cooking a whole bunch of this, then use the ingredients up top, and then just portion out your shrimp, portion out your vegetables, and the oil is the fat is already accounted for within your meal, so you have a balanced meal. The beauty of the recipes is that the portions are laid out for you at the bottom. Okay, and I'm going to get into what you need to portion all these things out as far as a food scale and as far as measuring cups in the next explanation. So now you have 2 ways to achieve a Fat Burn approved meal. Order them from Fat Burn, the easiest way. Second easiest way is just to cook one of our recipes because everything is done for you and portioned out for you. Lastly, I'm going to go back to Dropbox here, and we are going to click in to the Approved Foods Quick Cheat Sheet. The reason this is a quick cheat sheet is because everything is on 1 page. So let me make this a little smaller and fit it in. So let's go back to level 3 because those are the examples that I've been using. Now, the premise behind a fat burn approved meal is very simple. It's an approved protein, it's an approved carb, and it's approved fat at every single meal. So as long as you are constructing a meal for yourself that has one item from each of these three columns, then you have a fat burn approved meal. The reason this is a great thing is there's no gimmicks to the fat burn meal plan. It's not low carb, it's not low sugar, it's not gluten free, it's not keto, it's not something that once you start eating a normal way again, you're going to start regressing back into the result that you were getting during a challenge. Fat burn meal plan is simply a balanced way of eating across macronutrients within certain calorie ranges that you always can be eating for your entire life, because if you look at what are on these columns, there are things like bread on here, there are things like potatoes, there are things like chips, things that you're going to be eating in your everyday life, that if you learn how to just portion these things correctly and eat them in the right combinations, meaning eating chips with a protein instead of just a bunch of fat and carbs, is going to help your body metabolize things. Okay, so let's get into the instructions. Let's go very simply. If I want to construct for myself a fat burn approved meal, if I'm at a restaurant, if I'm at a deli, if I'm at the Iron Tomato, if I'm at Zaza in Stanford, as long as you're picking chicken from the protein item and you're coupling that, let's say, with 3/4 cups of potatoes, and with that you're eating a half of an avocado, that is a fat burn approved meal. I have an approved protein, an approved carb, and approved fat in that meal. Now, ideally, what you'll be doing is you'll be measuring these things out at home, because then it will be exact. So what you need for this challenge, if you're going to be utilizing this third method of achieving a fat burn approved meal, is you need a food scale and you need measuring cups. I definitely think you should measure every single thing out for this entire challenge, so that you don't just eat the proper food items, but you eat them in the proper quantity. Once you weigh things out for 2 weeks, especially 3 weeks, you'll begin to be able to start eyeballing these items. And when you do go to a restaurant, you'll know what 3 ounces of chicken looks like and what 3/4 cups of potatoes looks like. Trust me, I've measured out thousands of meals. I can come within pretty exact of what all these things should be on a plate, but you're not going to be able to do that unless you actually go through the process of measuring them out yourself. Get yourself a food scale at Amazon. They're $15. Go buy one in the grocery store. They'll be $25. Make sure you have a set of measuring cups. These are things you're going to be able to use over the long term. All the weights in the proteins are cooked weights. So when it says 3 ounces of chicken, 3 ounces of any lean turkey, steak, or pork, 4 ounces of shellfish, those are cooked weights. So you're not measuring the uncooked shrimp or the uncooked chicken, you're measuring them after they're cooked. You're not measuring out rice before you boil it uncooked. You're measuring it after it's actually prepared and cooked, okay? So if you want, go ahead and pause this right now and try to make some of your own meals. Try to make a breakfast meal, try to make a lunch meal, try to make a dinner meal, and see if you can really understand this, okay? I'll give you one more example of a breakfast meal. You can go ahead and have 1 cup of non-fat Greek yogurt right here, okay? You can have that with a 5/8 cups of blueberries right here. That's your carb. And then you can mix in 1.5 tablespoons of peanut butter or almond butter. That's your fat. That's a balanced meal. That's the correct portions. You've achieved a fat burn approved meal. Let's move on down the list. Now I want to stick to the carb column right now. So you have your starchier carbs on top: oats, quinoa, breads, potatoes. You have your fruits in the middle, which are a carb. So if you're going to be using a fruit, you're using that as a carb. And your vegetables at the bottom, and your vegetables are also a carb. So it says it right here. If you're cooking your vegetables, you can have 1 cup of cooked veggies. If you're eating a salad, it's 2 cups raw. So for example, spinach. If you're cooking the spinach down in olive oil, 1 cup. If you're eating the spinach raw in a salad, 2 cups raw. Okay, makes sense? Going back to the little rule that I told you before when we were looking at how to order a fat burn approved meal, let's talk about your fourth meal of the day. So if you're eating a protein, a starchy carb, and a fat for the first 3 meals of the day, the only caveat, the only rule for meal 4 is you cannot eat anything from the fruit section up for your fourth meal. It has to be a vegetable. So the way that's going to look is, if I want to have 6 ounces of tofu for dinner, okay, and I cook that tofu in 1 tablespoon of olive oil for my fat, my carb has to be one of the veggies. So I have to have tofu with spinach or kale and olive oil for dinner. I can't have potato, I can't have rice, I can't have quinoa. You have to keep those for the first 3 sections of the day. So that's the vegetable rule, okay? Let me say it a different way. Protein, carb, fat, first 3 meals of the day. Protein, vegetable, fat is your fourth meal. Now, if these meals aren't enough for you or if you're feeling really hungry, first thing I want to say is the first 3 days of this thing, I want you to suck it up and just do it exactly as it should be. If on day 4 you're still starving, let us know and we can start making some adjustments to your meal plan. The real time we're going to make some adjustments is when we have your body comp, and that's when I'll look at those numbers if they're not going in the right direction and make some tweaks for you. Okay? But if you want to make a couple of meals bigger, vegetables are the only thing we consider what I call a freebie, and there are level 1 and level 2 vegetables, which I'm going to also explain next. So if you're having a meal of 3.5 ounces of salmon, you're having that with a half a cup of cooked quinoa, and you're eating a half of an avocado with that, you can also add 1 cup of a vegetable to that, and that is fine. So those are now all the rules of this entire thing here, and that's why I left this one to last. So if I was having that same meal, I can have salmon with quinoa with an avocado. That's an approved fat burn meal. I can have salmon with quinoa and avocado and 1 cup of cooked of. Let me start again. I can have salmon with quinoa, half of an avocado, and 1 cup of cooked spinach. That's also a fat burn approved meal. Because spinach is a carb, if I wanted to not have a starchier carb, I can have salmon, I can have spinach as my carb, and I can have I can't speak. I can have half of an avocado, and that is my balanced meal. You can play around with your meals, you can add veggies in, you can add veggies out, and you can still accomplish a protein, carb, and a fat in every single item. Now, if your head is spinning, don't worry. Let's talk about this Sunday night. Let's talk about this Monday night on my Facebook Lives. And if you're really in trouble, then we can certainly talk about it in the studio. And I am completely fine with making sure you understand it because once you do, it is very easy. And I always refer back to a woman who was so mad that she thought this was so confusing during a orientation that we were doing live in person that she stormed out of the orientation because she didn't think she would get it. After one simple conversation, she actually ended up getting 3rd place in the challenge. So if that's you, just take a deep breath. This is not rocket science. We'll make sure you understand it. Moving down. At the bottom here, you have your approved beverages. Water is going to be your best friend. If you're drinking coffee, you want to really drink it black if you're going by the rules. So that may make some of you have a heart attack right now. Flavored seltzers is certainly fine. And on the right-hand side, you see your approved condiments. You can put hot sauce and sriracha on everything. You can put mustard and all these other approved condiments. Okay? Fruit is a carb, so you can certainly have fruit. There's no limit to the amount of fruit you can have in meals 1, 2, or 3. We've had some of those rules in the past. That is not this challenge, but you can have fruit at your 4th meal because remember, your carb has to be your vegetable. Last thing, and then we'll move on, is a combo macro section under the protein section. Not all foods fit nice and neat into a protein, carb, and fat, meaning chicken is just a protein, right? But when you start talking about hummus, cheese, milk, there are kind of matching components of proteins and carbs or proteins and fats in them. So if you're going to be eating those more complicated items, then it tells you what to do. So for example, if you have 1.5 slices of your cheese, then what you're going to do in parentheses there, it says less fat because cheese has a fat component in it. So if you're going to eat cheese with your protein and you're going to go over here and have a half of an avocado for your fat, just make it a quarter of an avocado. If you're somebody who has to see these things exactly down to a science, I get that. The reason I say just have a little less of it is because the incremental portion sizes are so small already that you can really just look at what the portion size is and just make it a little less. So if you want to keep things super simple, just don't have milk, hummus, or cheese throughout this whole challenge. But if you do, like what it says for hummus, if you're going to eat hummus as your protein, then you're going to have a little less of a carb. So if you're having chips and it says 6 crackers with your hummus. Because you have to have a little less of a carb, why don't you make it 4 crackers? And then you're going to be adhering to the plan a little better. All right, that was a lot of information. So I really look forward to your questions there, and I look forward to answering them because once you start doing these things, it's really going to sink in and it's really going to click. And I hope I explained that to you as clear as possible. But I know, regardless, there are going to be some questions. So the more questions, the better. The more questions I actually know you're doing it. And now we're going to move on to the section of how we track everything. But just remember in your mind, a FatBurn approved meal can be accomplished in one of 3 ways. I can order it from FatBurn, I can follow a FatBurn recipe, or I can follow the quick cheat sheet. Moving off of the quick cheat sheet, if something is not on this sheet, it's either not approved or there is another sheet in the Dropbox folder called the approved food list, the full version. I like everything nice and neat on one sheet, but this version has every single thing that is FatBurn approved. So if I scroll up to the top, things like bison, things like venison aren't on that sheet because it would be way too much for you to carry around with you. But if you want to find something on here and you know you're level 3, you can have 3.5 ounces of cooked bison. You're level 3, you can have 3 ounces of cooked venison or elk. And the more uncommon items will be on here for you to go ahead and peruse and see what your quantities are based on your levels, which is all broken down for you. Okay, so 3 ways of eating explained. Let's move on to the next section. Take a deep breath. All right, guys, tracking made simple. Here's the deal with fat burn. The real beauty of our process, even beyond challenges, is we have a simple way to track your meals and your workouts, and we have body comps, which in the challenge you're going to do every single week. Really good way to start figuring out what your body is capable of. Start figuring out how many fat burn approved meals, how many workouts you do, and that affects your body how in a body comp on Friday. You do that every week, and you start figuring out your body and how many times you need to eat well and how many times you need to work out to get a result. So you guys all have a calendar in the Dropbox folder, so go ahead and print that out. And here's how you track. It takes literally 30 seconds every single night. I put it on my refrigerator, and when I get home, I fill it out. There's 3 steps. Step 1, you want to record what you did. So every time you do a body comp, go ahead and write in the calendar on that day what your weight is. You can also write your body fat. You can also write your skeletal muscle mass. I prefer you write all 3. If you're just doing it for weight loss and you just want to write your weight, that's fine too. That's step 1. Step 2, anytime you work out, you are going to circle the day. So if you worked out on Tuesday, you circle the day. Pretty simple. Step 3, you now want to record what your fat burn approved meals are and what your non-fat burn approved meals are. So now that I've gone through in the last section what those are, and you're eating 4 per day or you're aiming to, each night you're going to go ahead and write, as in the example here on the 6th, I had 3 fat burn approved meals and I had 1 non-fat burn approved meal. Here's what that looks like next. Any day that you have at least 1 non-fat burn approved meal, put a red X through the calendar. Okay? Any day that you have a 4 and a 0 for non-fat burn approved meals or 0 non-fat burn approved meals, put a green X. The reason we're going to do that, when I show you one of my actual calendars, it's going to start showing trends on when you're eating well versus when you're not eating optimally, and we can start coaching you around that too. When you have an NPM, a non-fat burn approved meal, the only thing I want you to write down specifically is what made it a non-fat burn approved meal. So on this calendar, you can see the red coming through the back. I wrote down what made those days for me non-fat burn approved meal. It looks like on this day I had 3 mozzarella sticks and 2 cookies, and on this day I had 2 glasses of red wine, thus making that a non-fat burn or even 2 non-fat burn approved meals, depending on when I had them. The point of this whole thing is this. When you're done with this activity, your calendar is going to look something like this. You're going to see a bunch of greens, a bunch of reds, and you're going to start being able to determine which days you mostly have reds on. Like for me, on this challenge, it was Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. and then I can focus on those days to improve. I hope you can see if I zoom in, and I know this is blurry, but on the right hand of my calendar here, at Sunday night, at the end of each week, you're going to total from Monday through Sunday night how many workouts you did, how many FAPRN approved meals you had, how many non-FAPRN approved meals you had, and that's going to show you what your result is and how you got there. So if I look at this particular calendar, which was from a challenge obviously a while ago, and I look at my result on the beginning of the weigh-in day, and then I look at it 2 weeks later and I see I lost 2% body fat, well, then I know I worked out 5 times in the first week, 4 times in the second week. I had 33 FAPRN approved meals in week one, and it looks like I can't even read how many, 19 FAPRN approved meals I had in week two. I had 52 FAPRN approved meals in a 2 week period, and I worked out 9 times and I lost 2% body fat. Guess what? If I want to lose another 2% body fat, I know I should work out 9 times and I should eat at least 52 FAPRN approved meals over the next 2 weeks, and I should get the same result. Okay? So that's how this starts making sense and how you can start quantifying things in your fitness life. So I suggest you fill this out. And when you have body comps with us, the coaches can look at your calendars after, not on body comp days, so that we can help you make tweaks. All right, so now all the instructional part of the challenge is now done. You have all the tools and you have all the information to actually do this challenge. Dive right in and start doing it and start asking the questions, and that's when it's really going to start sinking into your minds. All right, the rest of this stuff now is going to be just explaining the prizes and some bonus items at the end. All right, so let's get through the rest. All right, moving right along, moving right along. Let's wrap this up. At the bottom here of these level sheets on the vegetables, you're also going to see refer to level 1 veggie list, page 14. I want to explain that real quick. This is not mandatory, but this will help your results. There's basically 2 levels of vegetables here. There are level 1, which are unstarchy vegetables, and level 2, which are more root vegetables, starchier vegetables. So if you really want to take this whole thing to another level, stick to the level 1, less starchy vegetables during your challenge. And when you're eating your meal 4s, where you have to have your veggie as a carb, choose from this top list. Not that these lists, that these veggies on the bottom are bad, like carrots, beets, sweet potatoes, and things like that. Sweet potatoes is actually a starchier carb, which is on the top. But corns and peas, I don't want you guys to think you can start eating vast amounts of corn, peas, and carrots. Even though it's healthy, it's not going to help your weight loss results during a challenge because you guys are expecting to get a great result. So you want to eat less starchier carbs at night. Make sense? Level 1, level 2. Let's move on. Supplements. If you guys need to have some bars and protein powders, in order to make things less complicated, we've gone ahead and broken down by level what some of these bars are and what some of these protein powders are. So what I would really do is I'd hop on Amazon. If you're a level 3 and you want to use protein bars as one of your meals because it's hard for you to eat because you're a nurse in a hospital and you're dealing with patients, then go ahead and buy yourself a level box of Oh Yeah bars because those satisfy a level 3 meals. If you go out and you buy all these other protein bars, you're going to have to take a picture of the nutrition label, send it to me, and we'll tell you what level it is. But if I tell you it's a level 4, you're going to have to eat like 3/4 of the bar and start thinking about things that way. So these will fit directly into what your level is. The same with protein powders. If you're using protein powders, instead of having to measure out like a scoop and a quarter or a scoop and a half, if you get the BiPro protein powder, you know that 1 scoop of that is good for a level 3 protein. One thing to be considerate of when you're ordering protein powders, there's a lot of meal replacement powders that look like protein powders. Protein powder is just that. It's all protein or mostly protein. So the fat and the carb should be very minimal in that. If you have a protein meal replacement, the carbs are going to be really high and the fats are going to be really high because it's a whole meal. It's protein, carb, and fat. So when you're using the recipes in FatBurn and we give you like a shake recipe, you don't want to add a meal replacement shake thinking you're using it just as your protein column, because then if you add in fruits for your carb and some almond butter for your fat, you're going to be doubling up what already is in the meal replacement shake. So, protein powder, good. Meal replacement shake, not good, unless you're just using that as the entire meal. What do we got here? Workout tracking. So you're going to be doing 2 lifts and an AMRAP. An AMRAP just means as many rounds as possible. So those will be explained to you during week 1. You can go ahead and record your weight and you record your reps right here. And then in week 3, you can go and see how you improved. That section is not going to be counting towards any points. It simply just means you want to, gauge for yourself what the workouts are doing for you. And then finally, you're going to see on the field event how you do compared to other people in those events. So the field day events are something called an Illinois drill. You probably see a lot of people, if you watch ESPN, like the football players running through cones. It's something very similar to that. It's a speed and agility drill. You're going to be trained on some speed and agility workouts during these next 3 weeks. And this event takes about 20-30 seconds, so that's the faster one. A farmer's walk is going to be you walking like you're carrying a suitcase, kind of like this. You're just walking with your arms straight down, and you're going to be walking for a distance there and back, and we're going to be recording your time. The 400-meter run is a little more of an endurance run because it's one time around a regular track, and we'll be recording your time for that. And then the medicine ball finally is going to be how far you can throw a medicine ball underhand like this or on the side like this for distance. And then every distance is actually going to minus some time off your total. So everybody's going to have a total time at the end of these 4 events. And then the person with the smallest amount of or fastest time is going to be the winner, second and third place. And we're breaking those down by age groups as well. So Illinois drill, say that gives you 30 seconds. Say the farmer's walk gives you 2 minutes. Now you're at 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Say the 400-meter run gives you 90 seconds. Now you are at 4 minutes. And say you throw the medicine ball 10 yards, and that minuses 20 seconds off your score. You're going to have 3 minutes and 40 seconds. That's how you're going to be ranked against everybody else doing the field day in your age group. Okay, so here are the prizes. We got our team prize, which is always, the bragging rights. You get the cool trophy, the Fat Burn Stanley Cup that gets to stay in your studio, Stanford versus White Plains, for the next 3 months. We take a picture of you guys, and that picture sits next to the trophy. And then when it gets passed on to the next team, that picture goes up on the wall, so you can be famous for the rest of time at Fat Burn. You also get a free month of Fat Burn, which is great. We give you guys a $200 gift certificate for either, I think, Capital Grille or Morton's, but we can change that up so that you guys can go out to dinner and celebrate as a team. I know that's been a tradition with some of the past winning teams that they like to do. And you get your team name engraved in the trophy, and then that's that. A lot of times the individual winners will also be people who were on the winning team because, those things kind of go hand in hand. But the team prize is calculated by the 4 people's cumulative percentage change in weight loss, body fat percentage loss, and skeletal muscle mass gain, plus the homework points. So that's how you win as a team, and you're ranked against all the other teams. Individual winners. These are the top 3 people from each studio. So there'll be 3 winners in White Plains, there'll be 3 winners in Stanford, and this is also calculated by the biggest percentage change decrease in weight loss, biggest percentage change decrease in body fat, and the biggest percentage change increase in skeletal muscle mass. So the people who have the top 3 from Stanford will win, and the top 3 from White Plains will win per category. And you're going to get a Fat Burn hat, a Fat Burn tank top, a Fat Burn water bottle. You get the next challenge free, and a Fat Burn swag bag with a bunch of cool discounts of local businesses that are hooking us up with some cool things. All right, 6 more winners there. And then we have our field day. So I just explained to you how that's being calculated, the lowest combined time from all 4 field events. You got 3 timed events and then 1 distance event, which will subtract a certain amount of time for you. There's going to be 3 groups, under 35 years old, 36 to 45, and then 46 and over. There's going to be a first, second, and third place winner for the women in each 3 age group categories. That's 9 total women who can win. And then because there's less men who participate in these things, it's only going to be first place for men, also in the category. So there'll be a first place under 35, a first place from 36 to 45, and a first place for 46 and over. All right, you guys get a Fat Burn hat. You guys get a Fat Burn Nike Gym branded Fat Burn. You get a swag bag, and we're going to do our best to actually announce those 12 winners, 3 males and 9 females, at the barbecue that we have later on that day. Okay, so here are the off-site events. Off-site events. You got Pemberwick Park at 10 a.m. in the morning. You got the barbecue at 3:30 at night. Last, actually not last, we have a bonus coming at the end of this, but here's how to stay in touch. Let your coach be in the loop. We want to help you. If you're feeling stuck or if you have questions, here are the best ways to get in touch. The fastest response, and I monitor this very actively during challenge times, is the Facebook group. I usually always have it up on my computer. I have notifications on my phone, and I will answer those as fast as possible. Secondly, there's a nutrition concierge text. You can text this number anytime from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. on the weekdays and a shorter duration on the weekends. Nobody mans it on Sunday, but we usually respond to that within 2 hours, hopefully definitely by 3 hours. So you can certainly text in the event that you're not on Facebook. And then finally, if it's something confidential and you want to email us, that's fine. I say email we respond to within 48 hours because I actually have the slowest email response rate because I get too many of them. But the studio leaders and member care managers will probably respond to your email a lot faster than I will, and they get those info emails, which I have listed here. So, if it's the weekend, 48-hour maybe turnaround time, but hopefully a lot faster on the emails. So let me emphasize the Facebook group, though. That's where you really should be posting anything, unless it's a really private matter, and you'll get the fastest response, okay? So let's kick some ass during these next 21 days. Remember, no one has time. You have to make the time. Nobody's going to give you time or permission to get fitter and stronger. You have to take it. So figure out when you're working out week by week. Put that in your calendar and stick to it, all right? It's a meeting with yourself, and bosses don't cancel. You ever hear that, that quote? If it's in your calendar, it'll get done. Think about how you're going to accomplish your Fat Burn approved meals. If you're cooking, you have to set aside some time to actually prepare those meals, or it's not going to happen. And if you don't have the time, utilize the Fat Burn meals that we cook for you. If you're not doing one of those two things, I'm really not quite sure logistically what the plan is in your head, but let's talk about it. All right. Lastly, we have the Fat Burn calendar, which you can find in Dropbox. It's in this pamphlet. You can pick some up at the studio, put them on your fridge, have these things in your mind so when these Facebook Lives are, start marking down your calendar, and let's get rocking and rolling. All right, next up, I just have a quick bonus section for you guys that I want to discuss. Okay, bonus section here, guys. I just want to make sure on a recap that you understand what all these hyperlinks mean. So I'm just going to go through this in order. Under why we do these challenges, I have a video, and the point of this video, I'll watch this not work for me now. Yep, it works. So the point of this video is to understand the premise between challenge time, between maintenance time, and how we get your mind to be excited and reset all the time. So that's link number one. Where are we here? Moving right along, under expectations, you're going to have your Dropbox link. And the Dropbox link is going to be a lot of the files that I talked about in this pamphlet. You have your August 2018 first set of recipes right here. This is an archive out of all the recipes we've had from past Fat Burn challenges and months, broken down by category. So you guys have like more than a cookbook's worth of recipes right here that you can go ahead and check out. You're also going to have the approved foods quick cheat list broken down by level that I showed you. The approved foods full version list also broken down by level. You have your August calendar in here. You have a copy of this pamphlet if you need to reference it, and you have that level 1 versus level 2 vegetable list in case you want to just pull that up. You can download Dropbox on your phone. It's a free app, and then you'll be able to access these items rather easily, on the go. Okay, so what is the next link we have here? We have a link to the ordering of the Fat Burn meals. This simply just takes you to fatburn.com, and it takes you right to the page where you order your food. You scroll down here, and you start clicking into these meals. You click into one of the meals, choose the appropriate level, so on and so forth, and then you add those to your shopping cart. Below this, we have the Facebook group, which you definitely want to join because there's going to be a lot of questions going on in there. There's going to be a lot of homework getting posted in here, and you just need to be in that group. Simple enough. And then lastly, I'm going to show you an advanced feature for all of you challengers who have done this already, or for you guys who really understood everything I talked about there when I was talking about the 3 ways to achieve a fat burn approved meal, and I'm going to dive into the macros. If you are not a person who already understands what I said and you need to ask a bunch of questions, don't even watch this part because it's going to confuse you even more. Let's wait on this until you actually have a grasp of what the fat burn approved meal is and how you construct that using a protein, a carb, and a fat. Okay, but if you're not that person, then here is a little bit of extra bonus material for you. Okay, so what this is right here is it actually breaks down the macros for our levels and how we construct them. So what this means is if you're eating a level 2, then you're eating 14 grams of protein at that meal, you're eating 18 grams of carb, you're eating 6 grams of fat. If you're eating a level 3, 21, 27, and 9. So this will help you break down a food label to see exactly what level something is if you have a question on it. The reason I show you this is because some of you guys have done a bunch of challenges so far and you want to do this on your own without having to ask us. This will equip you to do that. Everybody else, all you got to do is just take a picture of the nutrition label, post it in the Facebook group, and I will tell you pretty quickly what level that item is. All right, but now you can see how it's broken down and you have a pretty good understanding, or maybe not, of what the levels are macronutriently balanced. Okay, so that concludes the bonus section for today.